Raider Nation, happy holidays. You're watching the Raiders Report, brought to you by BetDSI, and I'm your host, Mitchell Renz. Please follow me on Twitter at MitchellRenz365 for the latest Raiders news, rumors, and Raider Nation rumors. My first rumor up here on the board, no Oakland Raiders made it to the Pro Bowl. This one's for Chucky heads, believe it, baby. I'm a little bit upset when I'm reading this because I definitely think some of the Oakland Raiders should have made the Pro Bowl, especially my man Jared Cook. Rodney Hudson was another name up there that I flirted with a little bit that I think could have made the Pro Bowl. But for the first time since 2003, no Raiders have made the initial Pro Bowl roster. And some of the names that I mentioned before, Jared Cook, Rodney Hudson, left guard Kalichi Osemele, were all named to the alternatives for the Pro Bowl. So when you're looking at that, yeah, like there's still alternatives, but at the end of the day, I think Jared Cook definitely had a career season, and I personally would have loved to see Jared Cook make the Pro Bowl. But as you all know, this show isn't just about me, and I want to know from you, which Raiders should have made the Pro Bowl? I want you to comment below if you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, anywhere that you're watching this video, comment below which Raiders should have made the Pro Bowl. I got a quick question for you. Is this the best Raiders show on the internet? This one's for Chucky heads, believe it, baby. And I got an awesome deal coming at you thanks to our sponsor, BetDSI. Rudolph dropped a ton of brand new Raiders jackets on my desk, and I'm telling you right now, you walk into a bar wearing that jacket, you're not paying for a single drink the entire night. Go to chatsports.com/bet and use that promo code LIVE120 for 120% deposit bonus. You sign up, make a deposit, and then DM ChatSports at ChatSports on Twitter to get hooked up with one of those jackets. Free money and jackets. Happy holidays from us at Chat Sports. My next rumor coming up here, Nathan Peterman to the Oakland Raiders. This one's for Chucky heads, believe it, baby. And before I go, because this is Nathan Peterman, shots to you. Ugh, that is not good. Just like that signing is not good because Nathan Peterman is not good at football, and I don't know why he's on the practice squad. Probably because he deserves and needs a whole bunch of practice. And it's frustrating to me because somehow Nathan Peterman is still getting a job, and you look at so many other quarterbacks in the NFL, heck, quarterbacks that are sitting on their couch, shout out Colin Kaepernick, who are so much better than Nathan Peterman, and yet Nathan Peterman has found himself a job. And I understand that John Gruden, let's say, loved him before the draft, and John Gruden said he's a leader. He's a leader of interceptions. That's what he leads the league in. That's what it seems like when he plays. 3 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. I'm not good at math, but that's not a good ratio whatsoever. So, Raider Nation, I want to know from you, if we put you in some silver and black, would you be a better quarterback than Nathan Peterman right now? I want you to type Y for yes or type N for no. I'm going to type my Y for yes because I think there's no doubt that I'm a better quarterback than Nathan Peterman. You want to put me out there? Heck, I'm going to throw more than 3 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. You know what? Nathan Peterman, you're going to make me do 2 shots on today's show. That's shout out to Snakebite, who says I should drink more on air. Next rumor coming up here on the board, Derek Carr, fluent in Gruden's offense. Derek came out and said earlier this week that he's, starting to get a little bit more comfortable with the offense, and I'm giving this one 3 Chucky heads, and I think it's pretty likely that he is finally starting to get more fluent in overall John Gruden's offense. I mean, if there's one player who's dealt with so much as change in his entire career, it's been Derek Carr. He really has, but he did come out and say that, he feels like he's fluent in the overall offense. I think that's just kind of quarterback speak a little bit. There's no doubt he's a lot more comfortable. I mean, he's on pace to surpass 4,000 yards, which would be the first time he's ever done that in his NFL career. And he's also NFL interception list streak holder at 292 attempts, which is really impressive. And since week 4, I understand once they first got John Gruden, the offense was changing a lot. But he's got a 67% completion percentage, 13 touchdowns, only 1 interception, 2,324 yards since week 4. There has been a definite change in Derek Carr's overall demeanor and just Derek Carr's performance. Then when you also consider the amount of players that Derek Carr's had to deal with, I guess losing, he lost Amari Cooper. He lost Martavis Bryant. Heck, he lost Brandon LaFell. There's been so much change around Derek Carr, and yet he keeps taking the lumps. Plus, he's been sacked the most in the NFL, 47 times this year. So I put this on the Raiders Report on YouTube, and I want to know from you, can the Raiders win a Super Bowl with Derek Carr? Type yes or no if you're on YouTube, and if you're watching this on Facebook, give me a heart for yes or a laughing face for no. Can the Oakland Raiders win a Super Bowl with Derek Carr as their quarterback? My next rumor coming up here, and it's some bad news, unfortunately. It's Gabe Jackson, and is he headed to the IR? This one's going to be for Chucky heads, believe it, baby. And it's upsetting to me because I think Gabe Jackson was actually one of the more reliable players, even though he kind of looks like Alvin and the Chipmunks to me. But he's been a reliable option for the Raiders in that offensive line, basically since he's put on that silver and black. So he sustained the injury against the Pittsburgh Steelers 2 weeks ago, and he tried to play through it in that game, and he was unable to play last week against or he was unable to play last week, unfortunately, and I did give it 3 Chucky heads that he was going to be unable to play, so I don't really want to give myself a pat on the back for that, though. But Gafford and Wright have been called up from the practice squad. They're going to look to fill in some holes now for the Oakland Raiders overall, but it's unfortunate that Gabe Jackson is on the IR, and he's going to miss the remainder of the season. So this is all about, you and me, and this is about one unity, one Raider Nation. So I want you to type 1 to wish Gabe Jackson a fast and speedy recovery. Type 1 to wish Gabe Jackson a speedy recovery. I want to say thank you so much for watching the Raiders Report, because I appreciate you guys tuning in and giving me your insights. And if you guys like me a little bit, you guys can follow me on Twitter at Mitchell Renz 365. And remember to subscribe to the Oakland Raiders Report on YouTube, which is youtube.com/Raiders Report. And if you want to be on the show, like Raider Nation Rumors, you got to subscribe. youtube.com/Raiders Report. My next rumor here is a good one, and it's around the NFL draft, and we're already kind of looking ahead. And when you're looking at the Raiders, well, let's be honest. I mean, we're already kind of looking ahead to the 2019 season, and this one's around Nick Bosa. I mean, you're talking about probably the top name in this year's NFL draft. It's Nick Bosa, and is he going to be going to the Oakland Raiders? This one's 2 Chucky heads, and people are talking. And the people that are talking are CBS Sports, and basically they came out and said whether the Raiders have the number 1 pick or the number 2 pick, they're going to end up getting Nick Bosa. So as I stated before, the Raiders obviously hold the number 2 pick behind the Arizona Cardinals, but CBS believes if the Arizona Cardinals have the number 1 overall pick, they're going to go out and pick up Jonah Williams, who is an offensive tackle, and they basically state that the number 1 reason that they're going to pick up Jonah Williams is to protect Rosen, because he's their main asset there for the Cardinals. But I just think when I'm looking at the big board and I'm listening to my man Tom Downey, it sounds like Nick Bosa is no doubt the number 1 player in this year's draft. Sure, there's injury concerns. There's injury concerns in all the players. It's football, for goodness sake. So, but yes, Bosa missed most of this year. He played in only 3 games. But for me, if he's there at number 2, you're going to see John Gruden maybe streak out onto the board and then pick up Nick Bosa. So here's Bosa's career stats at Ohio State. In 29 games, he's got 77 tackles, 29 tackles for a loss, and then 18 sacks. An absolute edge monster. Maybe he can fill in what we lost with Khalil Mack, because the Raiders are dead last right now with sacks with only 12 in the NFL, and heck, the next closest team has 8 more than what the Raiders do. So the Raiders definitely need some help getting after the quarterback, and Nick Bosa could do that. So will Nick Bosa be the number 1 pick in the 2019 NFL Draft? I want you to type Y for yes or type 2 for no. I think he's going to be the number 1 pick in the NFL Draft. I just think when you look at talent, I mean, he's super talented, and this is a quarterback-driven league. If you can find a player who can get after the quarterback, that's ultimately what you're looking for. So will Nick Bosa be the number 1 pick in the 2019 NFL Draft? Type 1 for yes or type 2 for no. Number 1 pick on my Christmas list is these Raiders jackets, thanks to our sponsor, BetDSI. And if you guys want one of these, sign up and deposit at chatsports.com/bet. Remember to use that promo code LIVE120 for 120% deposit bonus. So we're also giving you money, and we're going to hook you up with these jackets. Sign up and deposit, and then DM at chatsports on Twitter saying, hey, hook me up with some jackets. Also, if you want to get maybe some shoes, a Derek Carr jersey, we can hook you up there as well. Shout out to BetDSI for hooking us up with the best promo code on the internet. My last rumor here is around colors and the Oakland Raiders name. And are the Raiders going to have to change their colors and their name with their move to Oakland, or with their move to Las Vegas? This one's 0 Chucky heads. Tuck rule, tuck that. And I don't think the Raiders are ultimately going to have to do it. And I saw somebody come out on the internet. They're putting together, it's change.org, okay? So they're trying to get a petition together that the Raiders should have to change their name and their colors, and I just don't really see what's the point. And the person, their main argument is, oh, they're moving to a new city. Well, let's get a fresh start. Let's, overall, new city, new start. No, I don't want that at all. And then Des Belieber, who the heck that is, he wants to change their name to the Las Vegas Sinners. Why? That's a terrible name, and I think black and silver is a dope color. I mean, heck, I'm wearing black and silver right now. Imagine if I had to get a whole new suit. I got to get a whole new tie. Man, I don't want that. So are the Raiders going to change their name and their colors? I sure hope not. Tuck rule, tuck that. So this show isn't just about me, and I want to know from you. Should the Raiders keep their name and colors? If you're watching on YouTube, type yes or no. If you're watching on Facebook, Give me a like for yes, or give me a mad face for no. You know what thing I'm not mad about? If I got some Mizzen and Main for Christmas, heck, you could stuff these in my stocking, and I could pull them right out and put it on because these shirts are comfortable as F, and they're impossible to get wrinkled. So, you guys want some Mizzen and Main shirts, go to www.comfortable.af. Shout out to Mizzen and Main for making us here at Chat Sports look at least above average, in my opinion. All right, I talked about some rumors a little bit here. Now I'm going to get into my next segment, and it's around the Oakland Raiders and who they could potentially draft in the 2019 NFL Draft. But before I get into their top 5 players, let's take a look at maybe the 2019 NFL Draft order. The Oakland Raiders overall have got a lot going on here when you're talking about who they could potentially pick up and then who they could potentially go after. But here's the 2019 NFL Draft order. The Cardinals at number 1, sitting there at 3-11. The Oakland Raiders at 3-11 also the number 2 pick. The Jets, the 49ers, and then the Jacksonville Jags at 4-10. I think no matter what, all these players are obviously going to be on the Raiders board because the Raiders are still going to believe that they can win. Heck, I think they could actually have a realistic chance to win this week against the Denver Broncos. But we're looking at this from the Raiders at the number 2 overall pick right now, okay? And the first player that there could potentially be targeting is Devin White of LSU. Listed at 6'1" and 240 pounds, White has incredible speed. He hasn't decided if he's going to declare for the draft, but if he does, he could expect this player to be the Raiders' need since they are thin at linebacker. White has 278 tackles, 8.5 sacks, 8 pass defense, 3 forced fumbles, and 4 fumble recoveries over his 3-year career at LSU. The one thing that I love about White, though, this guy just never gives up, right? He's out there, he's playing, he's fighting and clawing. He's one of the reasons why this LSU defense was one of the best in the entire country this past season. He's a leader, he's a Gruden grinder, and I think he would be a good fit for the Raiders. But if they're top 2 and they go get Devin White, I'm actually not going to be too happy about that. So, is linebacker the biggest need for the Oakland Raiders this year? I want you to type Y for yes or type N for no. Heck, if you want to be an overachiever, you want to get some brownie points, comment below what the Raiders' biggest need is. But is linebacker the biggest need for the Raiders in the 2019 NFL Draft? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Raider Nation, I got an awesome deal for you, and it's thanks to our sponsor at BetDSI. Go to chatsports.com/bet and use that promo code LIVE120 for 120% deposit bonus. Sign up and deposit, and then DM us on Twitter at ChatSports, and then we're going to hook you up with a jersey, some shoes, and all you got to do is sign up and deposit with our sponsor, BetDSI. Shout out to BetDSI for hooking you guys up with some free money, and heck, look at that, a Derek Carr jersey and some sweet custom kicks. Next player that the Raiders could be targeting is Ed Oliver, and I love me some Ed Oliver. He's an awesome player. The ultra-athletic Oliver has received some comparisons to Aaron Donald. If you don't know who Aaron Donald is, I don't even know why you're watching this show. And it's for good reason. Oliver burst onto the scene as a freshman at Houston when he had 22 tackles for a loss and 5 sacks. Though he was limited in 8 games this season because of a knee injury, Oliver provided he's worth a top pick. The only issue for the Raiders could be he's reportedly signed the same agent as Mack and Cooper, and we know how that has gone. So when you're looking at Ed Oliver's career at Houston, 31 games played, 189 tackles, 13.5 sacks, and then 52 tackles for a loss. Like, Ed Oliver has the numbers, and he's super talented, but the one concern with Ed Oliver is he's not playing at a Power 5 school and he's going up against weaker competition. Is he going to be able to translate those skills and that undersized body to the NFL level? Aaron Donald has, but can Ed Oliver? That's my question. So, is Ed Oliver worth a top 5 pick in the 2019 NFL Draft? Comment yes, comment no. Tell me where you ultimately think Ed Oliver is going to go. I want to know your personal opinion. Is Ed Oliver worth a top 5 pick in the 2019 NFL Draft? Raider Nation, heck, if you want somebody else, comment. That's what this show is about. Interaction with me, with you. I care about what you guys say because you guys are actually pretty smart. So, Raider Nation, I want to say what's going on. I appreciate you guys watching the Raiders Report. Follow me on Twitter at Mitchell Renz 365 for the latest Raiders news and rumors, and also subscribe to the Oakland Raiders Report on YouTube, which is youtube.com/Raiders Report. If you want to get on the show like Raider Nation Rumors, that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to subscribe to the Oakland Raiders Report on YouTube, youtube.com/Raiders Report. My next player that the Raiders could target in the 2019 NFL Draft, and it's maybe my favorite name I've ever heard, is Greedy Williams. All great cornerbacks need a great name, and Greedy, I think that is as good as it freaking gets. Williams has had a redshirt sophomore season. He's long, he's a fluid defensive back, and at 6'3", 184 pounds, this guy could be a shutdown corner in the NFL. The Raiders, think about this, could have a great duo locking up receivers if they add Williams with 2017 first-round pick Garyon Conley. Here's Greedy Williams' career at LSU. He's played in 24 games, 71 tackles, but the 8 interceptions against SEC competition. That's what I love to see. 19 pass breakups. He's 6'3". He can go up against taller receivers. He can go up and match up against these bigger receivers in the NFL like a Julio Jones, like an A.J. Green. At least maybe high point the ball. I don't know if I would want to test him right away against those guys, but Greedy, I think, has a high potential. And even though the Raiders, let's say, sure, they've missed on past cornerbacks, but Garyon Conley is finally starting to show, hey, I was worth that 2017 first-round pick. Greedy and Conley could be a dynamic duo in the AFC West, which is probably the best division in the NFL right now. So I talked about those 3 guys. Who would you want the Raiders to draft? If all 3 of those players are on the board and then we're not considering maybe some other players, if you could only choose from these players right here, who would you draft? Okay, I want you to type G for Greedy, type E for Ed, or type D for Devin. Got it? Who would you want the Raiders to draft out of those 3 names? Now let's get into the top 2, and I've talked about both these players quite a bit. So if you've watched the Raiders Report, you've definitely heard both of these players' names. The first guy, before I get into my top player, is Quinnen Williams, defensive lineman from Alabama. Williams just a redshirt sophomore, but his draft stock has been sky high with each passing week, and it's for good reason. Raw talented player, big dude, awesome engine. He can play on the inside or the outside, and he has 8 sacks with 18 tackles for a loss this season, 1 year after playing in just 9 games. When you're looking at Williams, he's going to be able to eat up the middle, and he's just an absolute dominant force. And he's been a dominant force at the best team in the country. It's Alabama. In 21 games, 10 sacks, 86 tackles, but the 24.5 tackles for a loss. I understand he's probably going to be more of a run stuffer, and the Raiders need somebody who can probably get after the quarterback. But at the end of the day, the Raiders are 3-11, and when you have an extremely talented player who's young, raw, and has such a high upside, you're looking at Quinnen Williams on the board. I just don't think that you could pass him up. So, Quinnen Williams would be a great option, I think, for the Raiders. But guess what? The holiday season is just around the corner, and I want to know what you want for Christmas. And maybe you want Quinnen Williams for Christmas, as my producer, Dom, is laughing at me a little bit. So I want to know from you, what do you want from Christmas? Do you want beer? Do you want me to do another shot? I'll do another shot. Why not, right? Hang on. Oh, that's 3 shots. You guys are lucky. Lucky I got a 7-day weekend coming up going home. What do you want for Christmas? I want you to comment below if you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook. Heck, DM me on Twitter, at Mitchell Renz 365. Tell me what you want. But if you can't think of anything, guess what? I have an idea of what you could get somebody else for Christmas or yourself. You're going to go to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code LIVE120 for 120% deposit bonus. Put down $50, get $60 for free. Put down $100, get $120 for free. Oh, yeah, and check this out. If you sign up and deposit and DM us at ChatSports on Twitter, we're going to hook you up with a Derek Carr jersey or custom Raiders Nike kicks. Can't get better than that. Free cash, Derek Carr jersey. Yeah, you know what? Happy holidays. You're welcome from Chat Sports and BetDSI. My top option for the Raiders in the 2019 NFL Draft, it's Nick Bosa. Unless I got to get down on one knee for Nick Bosa, I think, is no doubt the top pick for the Raiders. He's their biggest need. The Raiders need to add someone who can get after the quarterback, and that's exactly what you're going to get with Nick Bosa. Now, he is regarded as the best player in the draft, and sure, he played only 3 games this past season, but if he can fill the hole left behind by Khalil Mack, because the Raiders have only 12 sacks this year, I know I'm not going to tell y'all, but you can add Nick Bosa to this defensive line. He's going to be able to get after the quarterback. That's a huge, huge fill. It's a huge need for this Raiders team because they're going up against Philip Rivers. They're going up against Patrick Mahomes. Case Keenum's not all that great, but hey, those first 2 quarterbacks are one of the reasons why those 2 teams are basically the top 2 teams in the NFL right now. So insert Nick Bosa into a young defensive line, and I'm absolutely loving it. 29 games played, 77 tackles, 18 sacks. Insert Nick Bosa, I think, onto almost any team. There's a reason why he is regarded as right now the #1 player in the NFL draft. And when you have such high regards for a player, you need to go back and watch his tape because it's special to watch him play. And sure, I think sometimes we forget how good he is because he hasn't really played a lot this year. But there's this really cool thing called Google. You can actually just go on it, and you can type in his name, Nick Bosa, and you can type in highlights, and then you can watch everything that Nick Bosa's done in his career at Ohio State, and you're going to be like, wow, shit, this kid's pretty good. I can understand why he should be the #1 overall pick in the 2019 NFL Draft. And if you think I'm crazy, you can DM me on Twitter, at Mitchell Renz 365. Tell me your personal thoughts if you want Nick Bosa to be the #1 overall pick, or if you think maybe some other player should be the #1 overall pick. But when you're looking at defensive end for the Raiders, it's no doubt the biggest need. And then when you're talking about the biggest need, insert that into what, I think ultimately the way the NFL is going, it's a quarterback-driven league. You need to be able to get a player who can get after the quarterback. And Nick Bosa at Ohio State is definitely a player who, you could look at and be like, dang, he's going to be able to get after the quarterback. So I want to know from you, and I want you to vote. Will Nick Bosa be the #1 pick in the 2019 NFL Draft? I want you to type 1 for yes or type 2 for no. If you type 2 for no, be an overachiever. Tell me who you would take #1 overall in the 2019 NFL Draft. Seems like those 3 shots are already starting to get to me. So, I'm taking a shot on you guys. And I'm hoping that you guys go to Mizzen and Main, and I want you guys to find out how unbelievably comfortable these dress shirts are. Go to www.comfortable.af and see for yourself. I'm telling you right now, these are the best damn dress shirts you'll ever buy. Plus, they're made in America. What more do you want? So, best damn dress shirt. Can't get sweaty in them because of the sweat wicking technology. You can wrinkle them up. It's perfect for when you're rolling out of bed like me. And I don't know, you want to go out late and then you want to come back and work early in the morning. Perfect shirt. Your boss will never know. Go to www.comfortable.af. Mizzen and Main, thanks for making me look pretty good here on the Raiders Report. Let's look ahead now to that Week 16 matchup against the Denver Donkeys. The Donkeys are 6-8, but they are favored by 2.5 points according to BetDSI. The over-under in this game, though, is 44.5 points, and I'm probably going to end up betting the over, and I'm going to take the Raiders to win this game. When I look at just the last 4 weeks, the Oakland Raiders have actually been playing better football than the Broncos. The Broncos lost to the Browns. They lost to the 49ers. They've been playing not very good, solid football, and I'm going to point the finger a little bit later on at Case Keenum. But they're 3-4 on the road. The Raiders have been playing a lot better, and sure, the Broncos haven't given up more than 24 points to their opponents, but the Raiders have, I think, definitely turned a page, turned a cheek? Is that how that sentence goes? I'm not quite sure, but this game is on Monday Night Football, and I think it's going to be a good one. I need Derek Carr to put up a whole bunch of points because I'm in my family fantasy football championship. I know none of y'all care, but guess what? I care, and I'll be a lot happier to do this show. I'd also be happy if one of you got me one of these holiday gifts from BetDSI. If you got me one of these jackets, I would definitely be impressed. And if you guys want to get one for yourself, go to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code LIVE120 for that 120% deposit bonus. So, sign up a deposit at BetDSI and then DM at ChatSports on Twitter. We're going to get free money to gamble with, to bet on NFL games. Plus, you're going to get one of those awesome Raiders jackets. You walk into a bar wearing one of those Raiders jackets, I'm telling you right now, I'd buy you a drink, maybe 2. Who knows? Shout out to BetDSI for hooking us up with the best promo on the internet, plus those awesome Raiders jackets. Let's compare the Raiders offense and the Broncos offense. Not very pretty, right? I mean, that's the reason why both these teams are in the bottom of the AFC West, and the Raiders have been playing a lot better of late, but, I mean, 343 total yards for the Raiders, and then the Broncos have actually not been putting up many points of late. They have yet to score over 20 points the last 2 weeks, but I think this one isn't necessarily going to be one offensively. I think you got to look at the defenses, and the defenses overall, the Broncos sure on paper have the better defense. I mean, they do, right? They're getting after the quarterback. 42 sacks. They forced 24 turnovers, much better than the Raiders. But at the end of the day, I think if we can limit Von Miller and his impact in this game, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say the Raiders defense is going to win it, but they did control the Broncos for basically 3 quarters the last time they played, and they held them to only 20 points. So I think the Raiders have the better offense right now, and if they can just limit the Broncos offense just a little bit, maybe force some turnovers, I'm really liking the Raiders' chances in this one. Raider Nation, I want you to go ahead and subscribe to the Raiders Report on YouTube, and also give me a follow on Twitter at Mitchell Renz 365. If you like what I do on the show, go tell your friends, tell anybody, tell any diehard Raider fan to subscribe to the Oakland Raiders Report on YouTube. That's youtube.com/Raiders Report. One more time, youtube.com/Raiders Report. If you forget it, maybe you should get some Alzheimer medicine. If they make it, maybe that's a terrible joke. Or DM me on Twitter at Mitchell Renz 365, and I'll tell you, it's youtube.com/Raiders Report. I want to give a shout out to my most loyal watchers on the Raiders Report, because I put out a poll the other day if people would follow me, and I had a few people stick up for me, and I appreciate it. And I want you to know that I'm always watching. I'm always looking at your comments. So I'm going to give a shout out to my top 5 favorite subscribers. Man, Dead Raider, Shout out to you, man. I know you're always a comment and you're sticking up for me, so much love, brother. Chris Rubio, always submitting those dope Raider Nation rumors. You come up with some amazing ones. And then Hungry420. Shout out to Lil Hungry420 as well. You guys always commenting on my stuff. And then Ernie Lopez. Ernie is in my comments. He's literally the first guy that I always see commenting on my videos. And then Obi-Wan Raider. Dope name. Always sticking up for me. Hits me up on Twitter. Hits me up on IG. So, Obi, I appreciate it, man. Here are my top 5 subscribers. If you guys want to get on this list, go ahead and subscribe. Oakland Raiders Report on YouTube. YouTube.com/Raiders Report. I got 5 keys to this Raiders versus Broncos game. And I'm going to kick this one off first with, let's make Case Keenum beat us. Because I don't think he can do it. I think when you look at the way that this Broncos offense is set up, if you can make Case Keenum beat you, that's when you're doing something right. And I want to get into Case Keenum's stats a little bit here in a quick sec here. But Case Keenum's not a very good quarterback, and I think the Broncos are kind of kicking themselves in the butt a little bit, being like, man, we thought this guy was going to be able to take us a lot farther, and go figure. Case Keenum, 6-8. I think he just finally showed his true colors, and, sorry to put it to you, donkeys, but kind of a jackass for believing that the Case Keenum could actually lead a team to the playoffs, and that's just personally how I feel. So, I want to show you now some Case Keenum stats here. He averages 29 attempts in the Broncos wins, okay? So they lean on that defense. They control with the run game. But he averages 49 attempts in Broncos losses. So I want Case Keenum to throw the ball more. And when he throws the ball more, sure, you could say, it's because they're behind Mitch. But maybe they're also losing games because he is throwing the ball more. Like 12 more attempts in losses is something I think is pretty alarming. And maybe one of my favorite stats, he hasn't had a quarterback rating of over 100 the entire season. Derek Carr's average the last 8 weeks is 103. Think about that just for a second, okay? Hasn't had a single game over 100 QBR or quarterback rating the entire year. Let's make him throw. Let's get after him. Let's, ruffle his feathers a little bit. Case Keenum, let's make him beat us. So, I got a question for you. Who's going to have more passing yards in Week 16? What's it, type C for Carr or type K for Keenum? If you want to know what I think, DM me on Twitter at Mitchell Renz 365. And I'm telling you this right now. Fingers crossed. I need like 300 yards and 3 touchdowns from Derek Carr. If he gets 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, I'm doing a shot. And if anybody wants to do a shot with me, send it to me on Twitter at Mitchell Renz 365. My next key to the game, take away Philip Lindsay. Philip Lindsay, first of all, has been, I think, one of the best stories in the NFL. Shout out to you, Philip. You've been an unbelievable player and definitely a sleeper on a lot of the radars. But Philip Lindsay, the last time he played the Raiders, 14 carries, 107 yards, and he was a spark plug. Like, he's the reason why I think at the end of the game, they ultimately ended up winning it. And if we can take Philip Lindsay away from this game and make Case Keenum beat us, I think that's ultimately when you're going to see the Raiders really thrive on defense. Maybe thrive's the wrong word, but do a lot better on defense, because if you can just pin your ears back and make Case Keenum, who is a below-average quarterback, try to beat you, that's when you're ultimately going to be a lot more successful. So I said Philip Lindsay had over 100 rushing yards the last time they played, 17 carries for 104 yards. So I want you to react to this. Will Philip Lindsay have over 100 rushing yards this week against the Raiders? If you're watching us on Facebook, give me a heart for yes or a laughing face for no. If you're on YouTube, I want you to just comment below, yes or no. Will Philip Lindsay have over 100 rushing yards against the Raiders? My next key to the game, Derek Carr needs to play well. Good job, Mitch, right? Great analysis. I can already hear you guys telling me that. Derek Carr is the key to the offense, and as long as he continues to play well, I'm going to give this Raiders team a shot to win. Hasn't thrown an interception since week 4. What's my count now on that and how many straight weeks I've said that? Probably since week 4. But I love Derek Carr the way he's been playing. 2,324 yards his last since week 4 and just 13 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's on pace to set a career high in passing yards. And when you just think about all the injuries that he's dealt with, all the coaching changes he's dealt with, maybe we need to give Derek Carr a little bit more credit. And like the fact that the offensive line hasn't been all that great either. He's been hit 47 times, which is the most in the NFL. I'm going to say in the beginning of the year, I was like, wow, Derek Carr, this does not look good. But now I think Derek Carr's been looking a lot better. He's impressed me. He's shown a lot of toughness, a lot of mental toughness, and I'm really excited to see what Derek Carr can do next year and hopefully a lot of years going forward for Raider Nation. But I've said it a few times, Derek Carr hasn't thrown an interception in 292 straight passes. So is this going to be the week that Derek Carr throws an interception? I want you to type 1 for yes or type 2 for no. If you can guess what quarter it is, bonus points to you. Will Derek Carr throw an interception versus the Denver Donkeys this week? 1 for yes, 2 for no. My next key to the game, you got to play 4 quarters, okay? There's a reason why NFL players, when they walk off going into the fourth quarter, they do this. It's because you need to play 4 quarters. Go back and watch the Raiders and Broncos in week 2. The Raiders played 3 quarters and just absolutely just shit the bed in the fourth quarter, and it's the reason why they lost. And it was so frustrating, and I remember coming on here doing the highlights and talking to y'all and being like, what the hell happened? Because it was so frustrating because the Raiders outplayed the Broncos the entire game, and just sucked in the fourth quarter. So, Raiders, Derek Carr, team, if you watch the Raiders report, and I know you do, play 4 quarters of good football. Heck, average football, and you're going to be able to beat the Donkeys. I promise you that. All right, so who's going to have the lead in the fourth quarter? I want to know. Raiders or Broncos? So if you're watching on YouTube, comment Raiders or Broncos. If you're watching on Facebook, give me a like for Raiders or an angry face for Broncos. If I see angry faces in the comments, why are you watching the Raiders report? That's my question to you. Maybe, if you're throwing up mad faces, you should subscribe to youtube.com/Raiders report and convert and be a Raider fan. What do you think about that? All right. I'm giving away, or I should say BetDSI is giving away the best holiday giveaway of the year. You want free Raiders gifts? Go to chatsports.com/bet and use that promo code LIVE120 for 120% deposit bonus. Sign up a deposit with BetDSI. You're not only going to get free money, but also you DM us on Twitter at chatsports. We're going to hook you up with the Derek Carr jersey, some kicks, or if you saw later in the show, or earlier in the show, some of those Raiders jackets. So shout out to BetDSI for the holiday giveaway. And shout out to you, Raider Nation. So, yeah, there you go. All right, next key to the game. Don't let Von Miller beat you. So I said don't let Case Keenum beat you. Or I said make Case Keenum beat you. Don't let Von Miller beat you. And what do I mean by that? When you see Von Miller on the field, he can impact the game right away. 5 tackles and a sack against Oakland in week 2. But he had a really big sack at the end of the game, which really shifted the momentum. And I think it's one of the reasons why the Raiders kind of caved at the end of that game. So he leads the Broncos right now with 14.5 sacks. And when you have a player as dynamic as Von Miller, 1 play. That's all it takes. 1 play. And sure, there's a reason why he's one of the best defenders in the NFL. I get it. And it's a lot easier said than done to take him out of the game. But we took away Antonio Brown. That led to a win. Maybe if we can just limit Von Miller a little bit more, that could ultimately lead to a Raiders win. Let's just keep Von Miller off Derek Carr. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. So, Raider Nation, I got a little favor to ask, and can I get a hashtag Raider Nation in the comments? I love how you guys are always commenting on the shows, on Facebook, on YouTube. Hit me up on Twitter asking for my opinion at Mitchell Renz 365. I just want you to know I appreciate it, and I appreciate being able to cover the best team in the NFL. So, can I get a hashtag Raider Nation in the comments? Let's do a loop around now, my 5 keys of this game. Make Case Keenum beat us. Let's do it. Take away Philip Lindsay. Let's get him out of here. Derek Carr, got to continue to play well. Next one is play 4 quarters. And then don't let Von Miller beat you. Those are my 5 keys to this game. So I gave you my keys. I looked at the head of the offenses, the defenses. Heck, I even looked ahead on the overall matchup, the over-unders, thanks to BetDSI. So I want you guys to predict the score. All right? It's week 16, for goodness sakes. And 0 people have gotten this right. And I've had $25 sitting in my back pocket just rotting away. And I'm trying to give it away to you guys. So, predict the score, Raiders vs. Broncos. DM me on Twitter, at Mitchell Renz 365. First person to give me the right score, you're going to win $25 from me, okay? 1 winner. DM me on Twitter, at Mitchell Renz 365. Give me the score, Raiders versus the Broncos. I want DMs, and I also want a Mizzen and Main shirt for Christmas. So, Mom, Dad, if you're watching, hook me up. Go to www.comfortable.af and get your son a Mizzen and Main shirt. I have plenty here at Chat Sports, but guess what? I want more. More is more. And shout out to Mizzen and Main for hooking us up here at Chat Sports with the best damn dress shirts on the internet. I'm going home, back to Pennsylvania, Raider Nation. I'm going to be able to celebrate Christmas with my family, which I'm looking forward to. And I'm going to wish you all a happy holidays with your families. And until next time, go Raiders. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this. I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.